This agent is absolutely a game changer. This is totally different than things I've been building before, and it has been so fun to work with. Hey, can you draft a message to my client, Elias Carter? Make sure to personalize it with everything you know about him. I want to ask him how things are going with work and what he's been up to at home. Here's that message. Subject, just checking in. Hey, Elias, I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to take a moment to check in and see how things are going with your work lately. I know you've been busy with your blog on digital privacy and ethical hacking. Have you been able to dive into any exciting projects recently? Also, have you been at home? I'd love to hear about any new adventures with Pixel or any new recipes you've tried in the kitchen. Has your quest to master Japanese been going smoothly? Looking forward to catching up. Best, Kirk. This is an excellent example of a use case for this memory bot. Let's jump into Supabase and see what we got going on. I created a fake client named Elias Carter and just had the bot remember information about this person. Elias Carter runs a blog about digital privacy. Elias Carter owns a Bengal cat named Pixel. We can see that come through in the message here. Love to hear about any new adventures with Pixel or any new recipes in the kitchen. Recipes in the kitchen comes from a couple of lines here. Carter loves making homemade ramen with extra spice, loves experimenting with Raspberry Pi, a bunch of stuff coming through. So we've got this client that I wanted to remember, and now my AI agent can craft a very personalized message to this person, just checking up and seeing how things are going. So pretty basic use case, but I'm sure your mind is already spinning with potential with what this thing can do. This is an AI agent that will remember anything you want. You can remember special details about clients, their favorite foods, their favorite colors, things like that. You can remember special dates, special times, things relevant to you. You can keep memories for yourself. You can keep details and store information about job offers, details about work, anything you want to remember. You can use this bot to store and recall for you. This AI agent is also plug and play. You can put this tool into your other n8n agents. If you're already building really awesome n8n agents, simple call to this workflow will let you store any information you want, which is just absolutely a game changer. So I'm going to show you step by step how to build this entire automation from scratch. I've had so much fun building this and using it. It is one of the coolest things I've ever built. I'm definitely looking forward to implementing it more in my practical use cases as part of this bigger AI agent that I'm building called Isla, my personal assistant that will be my digital automation diagram assistant. I will be keeping everything open and available, all of my workflows that power her, all of my prompts that power her, and everything that I'm using and doing to build my personal assistant will be available in the School community. You can jump over there, check it out. I have the link for my School community in the description of this video. I've also got some other helpful links down there you should definitely check out. But in the meantime, let's jump into the build. All right, let's get right into it. Here I am in n8n in my saved digital automation diagram workflows project. I'm going to come up here to the corner and click on create workflow. Right away, I'm going to come up and name this workflow. Name mine memory bot demo. You can name yours whatever you want, and I'll click save. Click the plus to create the first node. This is going to be a Telegram node. I'll type in Telegram in the search bar. Anytime you want to find any node you want to work with, you can type in the search bar here to find that node. I'm going to click on the Telegram node options and we'll get a list of trigger options. The one we want is on message. Doesn't really matter what you click on right there because we're actually going to specify what our triggers are going to be in this dropdown right here. So we can see the trigger on message. Now you're going to need to create your credential for Telegram. That means you'll have to create a new bot using BotFather in Telegram itself. So you'll click into the dropdown here, click on create new credential, and then paste in your access token from Telegram. If you don't know how to make a Telegram bot, you can follow the documents in n8n. Click on this link. n8n has great documents on setting up credentials for any of these nodes. You could follow the documentation here to create your Telegram bot. Alternatively, I have the tutorial on setting up a Telegram bot in the School community. You can check the link down below. Once you join the community, you'll have access to all of my n8n workflows, all of my automation templates and blueprints for free. You can check out all of my supplementary tutorials for this kind of stuff over there. I'm going to close outside of this window and select my credential for memory bot demo. Now we're set up in the trigger. We can technically test this step. So I'm going to jump over to Telegram. So here's my new Telegram bot, misspellings and all. I've got my testing memories bot in my conversations over here. So I'm just going to start up this bot. However, let's jump back into n8n. I'm going to go ahead and click test step. That will let this trigger wait for a signal from Telegram. So I'll click test step. We can see the trigger is listening for an event. I'll jump over to Telegram and start the bot. This is going to send a start message, which is technically a message. So if we jump back over to n8n, we'll see that trigger has come through. We've got an output coming from the Telegram trigger node, and we can see in the schema view all of these elements coming across from the trigger node. Now I'm going to back out of this node. You can click anywhere in the empty space or come up here to back to canvas to click out of the node, and you can see the Telegram trigger node has turned green with that one output coming through. Now, in case you're very new to n8n, you can click and drag around your canvas by holding space on the keyboard. You can zoom in and out by holding Command or Control on the keyboard and scrolling on the mouse wheel. You can also scroll back and forth by holding Shift on the keyboard and up and down vertically by simply scrolling. So I'm going to zoom out, slide this over. I'll click the plus to create a new node. This is going to be a switch node. I'll type in switch, find the switch node. For now, we're only going to pass through one route in this switch node. So we can set a simple logic here to say, if our text exists, we're going to continue on and keep performing the actions down this automation chain. So we can come down to the schema here and find the text coming from the Telegram trigger. Check the schema view, find the Telegram trigger, and scroll down to our actual text. Now you can click and drag this schema, click and drag this element into the top value. That is our text. Click into this drop down. This is a string, so we want to find the string options and we'll say exists. So basically this becomes an if statement. If this text exists, we continue on. Rename this output. We'll rename it text, and we're going to add a second routing rule later on for a voice option. Click on test step, and we've got that output coming through the switch node. I'm going to click outside of the node. We can see that output coming through. We have one item coming from the switch node in our text route. Great. Let's click the plus to create a new node. This will be the set node. You can type in set. It's the edit fields or set. Click on that. Now we can drag in that value and drop it into this big box here. We want to drag in the actual text. So we can get that text that's coming through from the switch node, or we can scroll down and we can get that text coming from the Telegram trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the text from the Telegram trigger and drop that in there just like that. Now we can name this value. So for this name right here, I'll just name this text. Great, let's test the step. And now we can see in the output, all we have coming across from the input is the text. And we see that start command, the actual text coming through. Great, I'm gonna click outside of the node. Let's click the plus to add the next node. This is going to be an AI agent. So we wanna find this advanced AI, click on that, and choose the AI agent. All right, for our AI agent, let's choose the prompt source. I'm gonna click into this drop down, choose define below, and now we can drag in the text coming across from the edit fields node. I'll click and drag the text, drop that into the text field, and now we're inputting the text coming from the user, coming from Telegram into the AI agent. Great, so this is where the magic happens in these AI agents, really understanding how these agents work. Under options, click on add option. We're going to choose system message. This will be a prompt to tell the agent what its role is, how it performs, its capabilities, its limitations, and how it will interact with the tools that we provide it. So in this system message, you can hover over the system message field here, click on expression. That'll change this to the expression field, and we want to expand this field by clicking on this little expand window button. So I'm going to click on that. This will expand out your window, and you can paste in my prompt I have here. I'm going to go ahead and delete the short default prompt here and paste in my prompt. All of my prompts can be found over in the Digital Automation Diagram School community, inside the classroom, in the docs, refs, and prompts module, and we can find the memory bot agent right here. Copy and paste this entire prompt and drop it into the system message back in n8n. There it is. So I'm telling the agent what its role is, what it can do, through its core capabilities, how it behaves, how it uses the tools that we're going to be creating. So we have a store memory tool and a get memory tool. This is going to allow the agent to actually smartly decide what memories it is saving and how it is saving those memories. I also have this line down here. It'll check for duplicate memories. And if it already knows something, it'll say, I already know that. Here's the info you shared earlier. You can change this stuff around however you want, customize your prompt. So go ahead and copy this prompt. If you haven't figured this out by now, I'll show you this ChatGPT trick. You can just take a screenshot of the prompt, jump over to ChatGPT, drop the screenshot in just like that and say, please write out this text and paste it. There we go. ChatGPT is writing out the entire prompt and you'll be able to copy it and paste it into the system message. I'm going to jump back into n8n. I'll click outside of this expression window and now we can see the AI agent needs some more nodes attached to it. So let's start with the chat model. I'll click into that. Now I use OpenAI, so I'm going to continue with OpenAI, but this is a list of all the chat models available to n8n. You can see we have a DeepSeek chat model now. That is excellent. We also have the Open Router chat model here. Lots of new stuff coming into n8n. So I'm going to continue with OpenAI. Click on that chat model. Now, whatever tool you're using, you're going to need to create your credential and get your API key set up in the appropriate node. For OpenAI, I have the tutorial in the school community for setting up your OpenAI credential. You can jump over to my school community, check that out. I have the links in the description of this video if you want to check it out over there. So I'm just going to enter in my OpenAI credential and I'll leave the model as GPT-4o mini. That's all we need there. I'm going to click outside of the node. Now you can see what we got going on here. We have the OpenAI chat model attached to the AI agent. I'm going to drag around this node and click on the plus to add a memory node. Same thing here. If you're using any of these other tools, this is a list of memory tools. You can integrate with any of these tools you're already using. I'm just going to use the window buffer memory. Now for the session ID, I'm going to click in this drop down and say define below. For the key, add in the text from the edit fields node here. I'll click and drag the text in there just like that. For the context window, I like to crank it up to 8. Doesn't really matter. We are actually creating a memory bot here. This will just remember 8 interactions with the chat itself. So don't need to know about that if you're new to all of this stuff. I'm going to click outside of this node. The next node we're going to add is the first tool node. This is going to be the Supabase tool. I'm going to click the plus to create a new node. Type in the search bar Supabase, and we want the Supabase tool, not the vector store. So I'm going to choose Supabase tool. Same thing as before. You'll need to set up your credential for Supabase in n8n here. Click into this drop down, click on create new credential and set up your Supabase credential. You could always follow the docs to set up these connections. That's how I learned all of this stuff, following the n8n documentation to get this stuff set up. So you'll need your URL here and your service role secret to set up that connection. I do have the tutorial on this as well to set up your Supabase connection in n8n. If you want to jump over to the school community, I've got the link in the description below. Once you have your Supabase account set up, you can follow along with me here. So I'm going to choose my Supabase credential, my digital automation diagram connection, and now we'll actually have to jump over to Supabase and create a new table to use as storage for these memories. So here I am in my Supabase account. I'm in the table editor here, and I'm going to create a new table. Let's name this table MemoryBot demo. You can name yours whatever you want. And for the columns, we can leave the record ID, the created time. Let's add a column, call this memory. And for the type, it's going to be a text field. Now we can optionally add in some more information. If we want to gather more information about our Telegram users using the bot, we can add some more columns in here. I'll click add column. Let's call this username. For the type, this will be text. Let's click add column. This one is going to be Telegram chat ID. And for the type, Telegram chat ID is a numeric value. We can choose numeric and click save. Great. So here's our new table. Here's our columns sorted out. I'm just going to click and drag to resize these columns a little bit. And we're good to jump back over to n8n. And once we have that table created, we can come down, leave everything set as it is. We want to set the tool description automatically, create a row, and the table we're going to use, click into this drop down. Might not show up yet, so I'm just going to click outside the node and double click back into it. You can see it loaded the options. Now when we select from the dropdown, we can see the new table. So for data to send, let's click add field. This will populate with the field names from Supabase. Click into this first dropdown. This will be the memory. Doesn't really matter what order you put these in here. For the memory, we're actually going to let the AI agent decide and figure out what goes into this field value. So we're going to use this handy expression right here. This is one of the best ways to shortcut your workflow and really utilize the AI of the AI agent, right? So I'm just going to copy this expression right here, copy it and paste it into the field value. But first we need to turn this into an expression field. I'll click expression right there, paste that expression, and it should turn this light gray color. Now we can just replace this placeholder name. For the placeholder name here, we can just say memory. That's what we want to go here, the actual memory. Now following this tooltip, we can say, here's our memory, the key value, and we need a description value. So let's go ahead and add a description after the comma here. So I'll put in a comma and make sure to add quotes back in here. In between the quotes, I'll say store new memory based on the user input. So I'll just expand this out so you can see it a little better. Copy and paste this expression right here. I'll click outside of the expression field and we have that from AI expression in the field value. Let's click on add field, select from the dropdown. This will be the username. And for the field value, we could add the username from Telegram. We can choose that from the switch node or from the Telegram trigger node. And I'm going to actually grab it from the Telegram trigger node. We could use the Telegram username, but sometimes when people have their Telegram usernames private, this won't show up in the input. In that case, you won't get anything in this field value except an @ sign. I'm going to actually add the full name here. So I'm going to click and drag the first name. This is the linked JSON. So after this curly braces, I'll put a space and then link the last name. This will add in the user's actual name here into this username field in Supabase. In case you want to preview what this JSON is actually outputting, here's a preview down below the field of what the JSON here is actually outputting. The text from the first name and the text from the last name, just like that. Let's add the last field here. Select from the dropdown. This will be the Telegram chat ID. In the field value, we'll link from the chat. Grab the ID right there. Great, so that links everything up into Supabase. Our first store memory tool is complete. Now, to give the AI agent context, let's just come up and rename this tool to what we named it in the prompt. This is the store_memory tool. I'll click rename and click outside of the node, and we can see our store memory tool. Just to double check that name, I'll come back into the AI agent, expand out my system message and find that name right here. Great. That just gives the AI agent context. Yes, this is the tool I mentioned. This is the tool I want you to use. So let's create the get memory tool. I'll click and drag the tool handle, drop it down right there to create the next node right there. This will be another Supabase. Make sure you grab the tool node and not the vector store. Add your same credential at the top. And now for the operation, we don't want to create a row. We want to get many rows. We're going to get lots of memories stored into this base. From the table, select from the drop down, select your table. And now what's great about Supabase, you can filter and limit your searches. You can add in lots of conditions coming from the user input to filter your searches and actually look for and get the relevant memories that you want. For this video, we have nothing in this Supabase table, so I'm just going to say return all. And for the filter, I will say none. It's just going to get everything inside of the base. We can limit that and filter that later on. So that's all we need from this node. Let's come up and rename it. This is the get_memory tool. Click rename. I'll click outside of the node and we are almost set up here. Let's just put in a response node to send a message from the AI agent back to the Telegram user. So I'm going to click the plus to create a new node. This will be Telegram. Choose the Telegram options and now we can choose the send text message option right here. Choose your same credential. We want to send a message and now we need the chat ID. The only message we have in the Telegram is that start command when we started the bot. So I'm going to jump back over to n8n, click execute previous nodes. It's actually going to run the AI agent and get that information coming through. Now we can see in the input, the output from the agent. So that is actually coming from the agent. This is going to be our response back to the user. So let's grab this output from the agent, drop it down into this text field. And now we need the chat ID of the user. So we can grab that again from the switch node, but I'm going to come down and grab that chat ID from the Telegram trigger, the chat ID, drop that in right there. Now, something I always do is under additional fields, click on add field, choose append n8n attribution and toggle this off. Every time a message is sent in the Telegram bot, it'll say this message was sent using n8n. We can toggle off that attribution right there. So I'm going to go ahead and test this node. This should actually send that message back to our Telegram bot. I just got the ringing notification in my headphones. I'm going to check Telegram and there's that message coming through back in Telegram. Awesome. So back in n8n, I'm going to click outside of this node and just organize my nodes a little bit. I like to put them in a circle here. n8n canvas aesthetic. It's a big deal. Okay, so what we can do is actually toggle on this agent that'll save the workflow. And without testing it further, let's just jump back into Telegram and start using it. So I'm going to jump over to Telegram and in the message field, let's type, remember, my name is Kirk. Got it. I will remember that your name is Kirk. Let's jump over to Supabase. I'll refresh my table. And there it is, our first memory user's name is Kirk. We've got those inputs coming from the Telegram chat, username Kirk Artman, and the Telegram chat ID right there. We also have the default records we left in there, the created time and the record ID. Great, so everything is working beautifully so far. Let's right away just tackle the next capability of this agent. I'm gonna jump back into n8n and we're gonna add the voice capability to this agent. So I'm gonna click and drag a box around these first two nodes and just move them off to the side. We're gonna add two more nodes in here. So the first thing we need to do is actually add that second route coming from the switch node. To toggle off this workflow, double click on the switch node and we'll add another routing rule. Click add routing rule and we'll actually have to send a voice note to get that message coming through the Telegram trigger. We need that audio file actually coming through. Click outside of the node. I'll come down to test workflow. Let's jump into Telegram and I'll send an audio message. Whoops, double clicked that there. Testing audio. Once that gets sent, we can jump back into n8n and we see that has already gone down the second route of our switch node. We haven't set any rules, but the rule that we have set is if text exists. And with that audio file coming through, text does not exist. Therefore, we're getting that second route to trigger already. Let's go ahead and define that route a little better. I'm going to double click into the switch node and we can set the values here now. So same thing we did with text. If text exists, follow route number 1. We're going to say if file ID exists, follow route number 2. So in the Telegram trigger node, I'll come down and find the file ID. Click and drag that into the first value. Now this is going to be a string, so we can click into the drop down and say string exists. Now we're saying if that file ID string exists, we'll follow the second route. Let's go ahead and rename this route, name it audio. And something I always do out of habit is come down to add option. Under options, click on add option and we'll say ignore case. Just in case for this switch case, we'll ignore case. Click outside of the node and we could add in the next node here. Click the plus to create the next node. I'm going to drag this node down here. The next node is going to be Telegram. We can choose the Telegram options and we want to get a file. Click on that. You're going to choose your same credential and leave these two fields the same. Let's add in the file ID. Same file ID we used for that switch expression. I'm going to scroll down to the Telegram trigger, find the file ID and click and drag that into this file ID field. And we want to say download. Yes, we're downloading that file. You can click on test step. That'll actually download that file right there. We got that binary data coming through. I'm going to click outside of this node. Let's click the plus to create the next node. Type in OpenAI. Click on the OpenAI node options, and under audio actions, we'll find transcribe a recording. We're going to use ChatGPT Whisper to transcribe this audio into text. So I'm going to use my same OpenAI credential and leave all of these options as they are. Click on test step and we've got that output coming through. You can see the text coming through in the table view, testing audio. I'm going to switch to the schema view. Same thing. Here's that text, testing audio. That was my voice message. Great. I'm going to click outside of the node and connect this node to the edit fields node right there. Double click into the edit fields node so we can get that data coming through. Now switch this back to the schema view over here. Now we could add this data coming through into this second area over here, this second mapping of data over here. But what I've found to work just fine, and in most cases a little better, is just adding that to the same text value right here. So in the input, I'm going to scroll down and find the OpenAI node, find the text, and click and drag the text after that first JSON for our text message right there. Both of these items will be read. It's just saying both of these values are undefined at the moment. Once we run this through, one of these values will be defined. We'll either have the text or the converted text from the OpenAI node coming through. I'm going to click outside of the node, and now we can use voice in our AI agent. The reason that works is because since we're using this edit fields node, if I come into the AI agent, we're already linked to that text from that edit fields node. We already have that connection set up. Whether we're using the text or the audio, that's already linked up in that edit field node to the agent right here. So I'm going to back out of this node. I'm going to come up and actually toggle on the entire workflow. Let's jump over to Telegram and just start using it. So I'm going to use the voice capability and give it some memories. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. There we go. I've stored that you live in Phoenix, Arizona. If there's anything else you'd like to share or ask about, feel free to let me know. Now, just to make sure the texting is still working, I'll say I run a school community called Digital Automation Diagram. I've stored that you run a school community called Digital Automation Diagram. Great. Everything is working so far. Let's jump over to Supabase and see what we got. I'll go ahead and refresh my table. There we go. User lives in Phoenix, Arizona. User runs a school community called Digital Automation Diagram. Cool. I'm going to jump back over to Telegram and just start giving it some information. I'm going to ask it to remember some facts about my best friend Tyler, who lives in Florida. We can just pretend that I'm giving it some client information just to have it remember something about an important client of mine. I'll start off with Tyler is my best friend who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. Tyler is a boat captain and runs his own business from the St. Petersburg Pier. He has 2 charter boats, and my poor internet connection today, this message did not go through, so I'm just going to resend that message. Tyler runs his own charter boat business from the St. Petersburg Pier. Tyler also owns 5 houses, and he's into real estate. Tyler is adventurous, and we've traveled a lot together. Tyler owns a bicycle, but doesn't write it much. Now I'm going to give a different kind of input. I've given it some context. Here's some interesting context here already. It says Kirk and Tyler have traveled a lot together. It grabbed that from the knowledge base saying that the user's name is Kirk. Great. Now we'll keep taking advantage of the window buffer memory. He also likes to rock climb at the gym, but I don't think he's been in a couple years. Tyler wants to base jump off of the 5 tallest buildings in St. Petersburg, Florida. Tyler is an asset in that he is interested in all of the same entrepreneurial endeavors that I am. Great. Now the test, let's jump into Supabase and see what we got. There we go. Right away, user's best friend is Tyler, who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. Tyler runs his own charter boat business. Let's expand this out. You can see it. Great. Excellent job in storing memories. Now let's give it a real test here. I'm gonna jump back into Telegram and say, can you draft a message to Tyler just asking how things are going and personalize it with everything you know about him? Post it up here for me to see. We'll say something like that. There we go. Hey Tyler, hope you're doing well. How's everything going with your charter boat business at the pier? I know you've been busy with your real estate ventures too. Owning 5 houses must keep you on your toes. Have you had a chance to squeeze in any rock climbing lately? It's been a while since you've hit the gym for that. Nice burn there, but by the way, I was thinking about our adventures together. Are you still planning on base jumping off those tall buildings in St. Petersburg? That sounds thrilling. Looking forward to hearing from you. Best, Kirk. Now, obviously, we can tailor up in the system prompt how we want our agent to write these responses. We can give it context on how these responses should look. But point is here, we're getting all of that information in a nice, friendly, sweet tone that we specified the agent should speak in. Everything is working perfectly. Now to test this a bit further, I'm I'm going to fire off some more information and jump over to Supabase to show you what I got going on. There we go. So just a couple more records, added some more information about my friends. I've got my other friend named RJ, my other friend named Ned, and some information about RJ and his wife. Great. So the real test here is, can the bot actually utilize this Supabase and remember details and bring back those details to the user, right? So I'm going to jump back into n8n. I'm going to toggle off the workflow and actually disconnect the window buffer memory. That way, the only context the agent has will come from the get memory tool and getting that information from Supabase. So let's go ahead and test the workflow. I'll click on test workflow, jump into Telegram. Tell me everything you know about my friend Tyler. We'll jump back into n8n. We can watch this one run down. There's the voice transcription. It's going to the get memory tool. It's checking Supabase, and we got that memory back. Here's what I know about your friend. Tyler lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. He runs his own charter boat business from the same. We've got that list of everything I gave it about Tyler. It even put it in really nice language listed out right here and gave us that friendly and professional tone we specified in the system message. Great. So again, the agent has no context to the conversation we previously had. All that it knows is what it's getting from Supabase. So it went and read through that the user's name is Kirk, the user has a friend named Tyler, and then listed all that information about Tyler. So pretty amazing tool to plug into all of your other workflows. Just to test this one out again, test the workflow, come into Telegram, and I'll say, list all of my friends' names. There you go. You have 3 best friends, Tyler, who lives in St. Petersburg, RJ Machado, and Ned Sewell. We didn't actually give Tyler's last name, so it remembered who Tyler was and gave us the context for who Tyler was based on the information in Supabase. If we jump back into n8n, again, just to emphasize, the agent has no context from our previous conversation. All of that information is coming from Supabase. Pretty cool tool you can plug into any of your workflows. In case you're new to all of this stuff, there's a very handy node we can use in your AI agent tools right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this memory node detached just to show you one last thing in case you're unfamiliar with how these agents are put together. We can add another node here. I'm going to click and drag this tools node out and just drop it down here so you can see it. And it's going to be this call n8n workflow tool. You can set the name and the parameters of this tool and choose from your actual n8n profile the workflow you want to trigger. Now, why that is useful is you can actually utilize this agent tool in your other agents, right? So if I just copy and paste this agent itself without the input over here, this is something you can add in to your other agents as its own separate tool. And so the way that we would do that, if you're unfamiliar with setting up those multi-agent workflows, I'll just type in execute to find the execute sub workflow, and we can find the triggers here when executed by another workflow. So this is a trigger node that you can set up, plug it into your AI agent. So when your other workflow triggers this workflow, you'll have access to all of these memories that you can store away about your clients, fun details, important dates, really anything you want to remember at all. You can store that information and store those memories very easily with this system right here. I'm going to make this available for download in the school community. You can check out the full build. And as always, all of that stuff will be available for download for free. There it is, your special memory agent that will remember anything you want to give it. So like I mentioned, I'll have this entire workflow available for download in the school community. I have the links for my school community in the description of this video. Once you join the community, you'll have access to the classroom, community space, myself, and all of these automation workflows and all the templates that I'm building for all of my automations. I also post up the AI agent prompts, AI prompts in general, and I'm always active in the school community, troubleshooting any problems you might be having. You can post up in the troubleshooting section, and I get to all of those issues one by one as they come. We've got lots of live calls happening, got a Q&A on Tuesdays, I do live streams on Wednesdays, and I have a free one-on-one call available on the first Friday of every month. If you want to jump into a free chat with me, ask me any questions, or work on any builds together, we can do that. I look forward to seeing you in the school group, and I'll see you in the next video.